सुनने में बाहर से लगता है कि it is, of course, it's a social change and that will take time. But this is a back of it. I know there's a lot of administration, there's a lot of these things. थोड़ा सा वो बताइए कि कैसे.
तो दो चीज़ें हैं ऑफ कोर्स. एक को कहते हैं भय बिन प्रीत ना होए. आप अगर सिर्फ बातें बातें करोगे, उनको समझाओगे कि भाई आप मत मारो, ये अच्छा काम नहीं है तो सस्टेन नहीं करेगा. और ये तो हम कई सालों से कर रहे थे, कई डिकेड से कर रहे थे, बट रिजल्ट्स वर नॉट forthcoming. So of course the behavioral change part is important, but this can happen only when there is danda. There is enforcement of existing laws. So Haryana did innovate by not only enforcing PCPNDT Act, which is the act to to ensure that there are no sex selective there is no episode of sex selection. ये तो PCPNDT Act हो गया. But alongside the another important act which was being ignored earlier was the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, that is MTP Act. उसको सब ignore कर रहे थे. No one was taking cognizance. This is to check illegal abortions. आपने illegal selection कर लिया sex का, but ultimately आप उसको abort करोगे, illegally abort करोगे. Legally तो abort कर नहीं सकते, कोई reason नहीं, आपका rational नहीं है, support नहीं करेगा, gynecologist के signature होने चाहिए, वो सब तो होगा नहीं. So MTP Act को हमने implement करना शुरू किया with strong force. CM office से monitoring हुई, and then we created a small cell in Chief Minister office, Dr. G.L. Singhal, who has been, I would say, prosecutioner from the government side. He worked with FDA for long, 35 years. So he was roped in. There were other people as well. And then we started monitoring it very, very closely. So monitoring se pehle here, surveillance becomes very important. We need to have the right information. कौन करा रहा है, कहाँ से करा रहा है, what are the linkages, and as I said, all these people are connected. So, and of course, we know that there are no geographical boundaries when it comes to committing crimes. So people from Haryana going to UP or to Delhi or Rajasthan, Punjab. So we came across so many cases where people used to go outside.
सकती हो गई यहाँ पे वो गया तो फिर they'll cross the border and get it done.
So इसमें एक और बहुत important चीज़ थी. It's very easy if we go to any ultrasound center and check their records, and basis errors in records, we could book them. The law allowed that, but वो हमने नहीं किया, because if we do that, then people would be against us that you are looking into clerical mistakes and booking us. And of course, we would have gone to only those places जो कर रहे थे, जिनकी reputation थी इस तरह की. So what we did was, we did raids, रंगे हाथों पकड़ना. That was the strategy right from the beginning, which really helped us. Now no one came in support of them. So basically, modus operandi would be simple, that we would actually encourage some decoy customer to actually strike a deal. Through deal struck होती थी, और उसके बाद पूरा movement होता था, and then there would be a team, shadow team होगी, उनके साथ जाएगी, and then there will be a team led by one of the doctors, maybe a magistrate, police, some in police plain clothes, and बाकी साथ में. तो पूरा movement होता था, and उसके बाद they would actually go to the place, the doctor or the person doing this kind of test, वो women को बताएगा या उसकी family को बताएगा कि लड़का है या लड़की है. उसके लिए भी signals होते हैं, इशारे करेंगे अलग अलग तरह के बताने के लिए लड़का है लड़की है. तो जैसे ही होगा वो तो signal किया जाएगा, and then immediately the raiding team will come and रंगे हाथों उनको पकड़ लेंगे. And of course the transaction, those notes, we already would have noted their numbers also. तो वो भी case property हो गया, arrest कर लिया, तो रंगे हाथों पकड़ने वाले हमने case किए. So in all these years, we did more than 1,000 FIRs, police cases under PNDT Act and MTP Act. So सभी रंगे हाथों पकड़े, and I really salute those 1,000 women, almost 1,000 women, who were the decoy customers, because it's very risky, not only for the women, but for the unborn child also. In one particular case, I still remember there was a case, it was a case of MTP, and they were about to insert that MTP drugs into her vagina. Just imagine. So just at the last moment, the raiding team came and saved her, and of course booked that person who was doing the illegal abortion. So it was a teamwork, the district magistrates taking the lead, but then of course, as I said, these people who were promoting female feticide, they were moneyed people, very influential people. In many cases, they were people who were actually fighting elections for being an MLA. There was one particular MLA who won the election, and there were people who were fighting elections 2-3 times, not successful, but in the process, having very good public goodwill, and maybe one of their phase was to do some charity. Maybe they will run some ambulances free of cost. Those kinds of things they would do to camouflage all these illegal activities they were doing in the background. So, in fact, out of these 1,000 police cases, almost 1/3 we did outside Haryana. So, we not only improved the sex ratio of Haryana, but we sort of
That's
contributed.
because a lot of collaboration with the neighboring states and what was the support that you got? Yeah.
So, at times, some of these states, they were not forthcoming. But then what we used to do was through political means or through bureaucratic channels, we used to approach them, solicit their support. Initially, some of them, they were not supporting, but over time, they really supported us. I'll not name a state. We came across one news story coming from one neighboring state, which said that that particular state is doing extremely well in saving girls. And that was a motivated story, and the journalist perhaps could not understand the motivation of the person who was giving the news, which was actually fabricated, and results were not very encouraging. That particular state was doing, earlier of course was doing better than Haryana, but in all these years, they were not so proactive in curbing this practice of female feticide. So then we approached that journalist in the neighboring state, and we asked him, what is the source of your information? You are publishing something based on fake data. So that particular gentleman took 15 days. We really supported him, and we gave him the right data. And then subsequently, he did a story, a follow-up story, exposing the whole problem in that neighboring state. And there was another story in that state, that particular state only, in which they said Haryana is supporting the cause in their state also. So after these news stories were published, so they took cognizance, the Chief Minister's office, they took cognizance, the Health Secretary, they approached us, and then we started collaborating. So it was not easy to get that kind of support. And then perhaps you have to understand when these raiding teams go to, say, Western UP, in different districts of Western UP, because we have a very long border with the state of Uttar Pradesh. So just imagine the plight of the women, the pregnant women, plus the raiding team, including doctors. Doctors, they carry stethoscope. So they are not very much accustomed to run after criminals who are doing these kinds of illegal activities. But what we saw was they became so motivated. And of course, as I said earlier, कि कुछ results आने शुरू हुए, वो celebrity बने, वो leader बने, तो उनको देख के the rest all they started following their footsteps.
Big, massive kind of change. How much did the data change with all?
So when we started in 2015 January. So for 2014, the sex ratio at birth was 871. 871, yeah, in that particular year. So it became 922 in the year 2020, by a jump of around 48 points.
And this translates to how many?
So I would say in 7 years or so, we were able to save more than 45,000 children in wombs of mothers. So huge change. In fact, we are waiting for the census results. Whenever we have the census results, my feeling is that from being the first from bottom, this time we would be the median state. So we'd be around 18th rank. We did some calculations, some projections. So our feeling is, based on the work in last 7-8 years, we would be around 18th position in the